Proceedings, a very, very exciting night. I'm very excited to be a part of this today. If there's one thing about me and my ethos, I love celebrating women. I love encouraging women, and I love seeing women excelling in different industries. It literally makes me a happy person. So once again, good evening and welcome to you all. We are here for the KZN Top Business Women powered by DRG and BusinessFit SA. Welcome to a beautiful, beautiful venue. I mean, Coastlands uMhlanga is a stunning, stunning venue. As a person who is from Johannesburg, moved here 2 years ago, it was one of the hotels whenever we came to visit the province, we'd always come and visit here. So a beautiful, beautiful venue, and once again, welcome to you. We're also welcoming everybody watching online. Hello to you all streaming and joining us online. Welcome to a fascinating, amazing evening of inspiration, excitement, and just great, great inspiration. That's all I can say about tonight. It's going to be fantastic. So let me welcome a couple of important people here tonight. I mean, every single one of you look, first of all, amazing. Ladies, you've made such an effort. Gentlemen, I love the suits. They ironed nicely, looking fresh. I love it, I love it. So you all just look absolutely amazing. I'd like to welcome Daisy and David White from DRG. And some of our previous KZN Top Business Women, and I'll call out their names: SA Ready, CEO, the RR Group, and KZN Top Business Women Extraordinaire 2021. Bonnie Nkunu, who would have been here, she's my boss from East Coast Radio, but she's not here tonight. Melanie Rainfist, welcome to you from VR Wind. And Marlene Powell from Action Coach and also our 2021 webinar series host. You can give them all a round of applause. A special welcome as well to Mangwanani Spa. I mean, I remember when they came into the business as a spa business, it was exciting. Women just felt like, yay, this is the franchise, it's going to change our lives. No more back pains, no more drama, no more all of that. Welcome to the Super Tech group, including Priona Naidu, who helped make this year a very special event. Let me not forget the lovely lady who kicked us off this evening. Her name is Kirsty van der Linde. She's our saxophonist. I believe there's nothing more sexy than a lady and a sax. So thank you. So let me give you a bit of background. I've been talking so much, but I haven't actually introduced myself and said, who the hell am I? Well, my name is Carol Ofori. I'm a presenter on East Coast Radio. You can catch me between 9 and 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. And I moved here 2 years ago. And I have a bone to pick with people from KZN. A really big bone to pick. A furry bone to pick. And this is, I have come here on so many occasions on vacation, and never once did I know the serious nature of your vervet monkey situation. You guys keep this thing so under wraps that only when you pack your bags and leave a window open do you actually know what it's about. So please, guys, just tell the people in Joburg, we tell you there's crime. I mean, our number plate is Gangster's Paradise. So you know you're coming into Gangster's world, you know. But the monkey thing, it needs to be part of the number plate somehow so you know that this is your life. But yes, a wonderful move here to KZN, and I've been enjoying every second of being here. Outside of being a radio presenter, I'm also a television presenter. I have a talk show where I talk about baby issues between 0 and 2. So I help moms and dads and caregivers navigate that new space of a new person coming into the household. It's been a wonderful journey doing that. I've been doing that for a few years now. A new baby of mine is my books. I've written children's books that are available in exclusive books, as well as CNA online. And those books really talk to the nature of my passion for the continent and the people of this beautiful continent. So my book is called The African Adventures of Senna and Katlego, and it takes you on a magical journey of this character called Senna and his magical teddy bear Katlego, who goes on these excursions around 6 countries. Why is it 6 countries? Because I wrote 6 books. I know as a first-time author, it was something the publishers were like, what? And I was like, I'm doing 6 books or nothing. And they agreed. So the countries we visit are South Africa, Eswatini, Egypt, Ghana, as well as Uganda and Chad. So if you have a moment to pick up those books, if you've got small kids up to 12 years old, those books will be really informative and will drive a passion for your kids as well. The reason I tell you all of this is because as women, we do so much. And it might not be writing books, it might not be talking on the radio, and it might not be television. But we're definitely juggling more than one hat at every interval. I always say on the radio, as a woman, your body alone is your battle, right? Every stage of life that we go through, we're continuously having to learn new things about it. You know, before I became a mom, my body used to do different things. Today, I go out, I have a party, I come back at 2 a.m., I get a cramp in the middle of the night, my calf is in tension, and I wake up with heartburn. This didn't happen before. And I know as the years go, my body will change, and so will my appreciation for it, which, when I'm transparent about it and I share it with my girlfriends and my amazing husband, I'm able to enjoy the journey a lot more. But yes, that's exactly what we're here to do, to celebrate each and every one of you for all your contributions, all your hard work, and all the juggling you do as women, and just completely paving way for so many women behind you. There's nothing better than seeing a woman doing something awesome, looking up to her, and tomorrow going to her and saying, "You were the reason why I chose to do this." So keep excelling, women. You are phenomenal. So back to this amazing night that we are here together. The KZN Top Business Women 2022 initiative is the third such event. And this year's message is beautiful: women inspiring women. On my show, I have a segment called Women Crush Wednesday, and it's 100% intentional. I speak to different women in different industries, trailblazing and doing incredible things. I've spoken to women who are teaching other women how to fire guns. It sounds crazy, but in the society we live in, we are victims. So it's a choice we make to either pick up the gun or pick up whatever we want to in order to empower ourselves as women. She also teaches situational awareness, right? Which is the concept of walking out of a room and being aware of what's around you at all times, which is incredibly powerful, because a lot of the time we're not aware of what's around us, whether we're tying kids in, whether we're carrying a bag of groceries into the car. But a simple situational thing where you go, okay, I saw the man over there, I saw the lady over there, and I saw the guy in the corner. None of them seem like threats, but I'm aware of their existence. So it's very powerful. To a woman who's making something called a drinker bell, right? She does this to help women avoid being raped. Her daughter went through the same situation, and she's come up with this really inventive thing. To a woman who's just fighting life in its nature and doing things for her community, empowering her next-door neighbors and the children in her community. We do so much, and yet we don't recognize and celebrate it enough amongst ourselves and in our communities. And that is why I point out a few of the women that I've encountered on this journey. Some of them have left me in tears. Some of them have wanted me to put on a cape and jump out there because I think I'm such a superwoman. And some of them have just left me so inspired and wanting to do more in my own life. And those women are also sitting amongst us right now. So I'm really excited about today. And as I said, today is the KZN Top Business Women 2022, and it provides a real opportunity to recognize some of the industrious and entrepreneurial women, the leaders, the community leaders, and just doing amazing things in our province. I could go on and on and on about the role we play in our province, in our communities, and in our homes. But I think the women that will come onto the stage will leave you with more. We've had lots of workshops, and there's going to be a lot of videos they'll be dropping that you can see all these exciting things that ladies are doing from this very room. So, without further ado, can I call one of the ladies onto stage? Is that okay with you? All right, let's do that. I'd like to invite onto the stage Colette Tanner. She's an operations director at DRG, just to give us a lovely welcome address. Welcome, Colette.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and to each and every one of you, especially. As Carol said, thank you. I'm the operations director for DRG. It's been an honor and a privilege for DRG and BusinessFit to co-sponsor the 2022 Women of Influence initiative. Sorry if I'm stuck in that direction. I've got a bit of a beam me up Scotty here stuck to my head. So. DRG and BusinessFit support business leaders in creating engaged, productive and sustainable organizations, and through this celebrate excellence and the accomplishments of some of our province's leading women. There's no doubt in my mind that women are centric to everything. You just need to ask my husband over there. Women play a significant role in the business world today, in the community, in the economy, and the world at large. The world of business today is becoming less traditional with its profit-focused lens, with the new business world adopting a more people focus by way of attracting, retaining, and engaging the human being, the tenant, as the first port of departure. Through this, creativity, thriving, growing people, sharing experiences, increased organizational energy, meeting of customer and shareholder expectations, promoting sustainability, and supporting social and community initiatives. It is no longer possible for business owners to look to the future and prepare. We need to make sense of the market opportunities and challenges and assertively respond to this with impact. An engaged working culture can only bring about the success of this, and as organizations we need to adopt an environment of new wineskins. This is where women shine. We share, we grow, we mentor. And we are women. We are wives, we are children, and we are sisters. This is not learned. This is inherent in our DNA. At DRG and BusinessFit, we are privileged to work with women leaders each and every day, and we get to witness this. We would like to encourage each and every woman here today and watching online to be your unique and natural self, to build families, to support community development and opportunities, and to contribute effectively towards diversity, inclusion, and transformation. And as a last point, I'd like to reiterate what a proud moment KZN feels to support women of influence, and what a great joy it is for us to be as a business community and share this evening with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colette. All right, so I'm going to introduce to you some of the women that we're celebrating tonight. As you can see the wall to my right, you'll see all the women's pictures. All these women had wonderful interviews and have empowering stories of their wins, their losses, their challenges, and just what keeps them floating, what keeps them going, and what keeps them wanting more and a zest for life. So there is going to be a coffee table book with all these wonderful pictures and great stories, and we also will have videos that will drop every week that you can see and follow the stories of all the different women here. It was very cute to see a few women taking pictures with their pictures. Very cute. I love it. Absolutely love it, okay? Now, as I said, the women had very different experiences, and based on their individual circumstances, they of course shared it and guided us through those business choices that they've made in their different industries, from health to medicine to law to business development, media, accountability, and the list goes on. All these women are phenomenal, and we're celebrating each and every one of you tonight. And in a moment, we're going to roll the tape with the same images, but for you to see over there, and I'll introduce every single woman as part of the Top Business Women 2022. So in no alphabetical order, let's roll the tape. I'm going to step out of the way. Lenore Goss Mikey. Lyndall Murdley. Gostina Gabby Malope. Dr. Lungile uMhlanga. Larusha Maharaj. Zanele Luvulo. Singobile Kuluse. Natalie Keegan. Benita Ardenbaum. Sherry Armstrong. Jackie Bana. Carol Kutsia. Lise Cummins. Samantha Croft. Heather Flack. Janine Topping. Jasmina Shiba, Caroline Scully, Jennifer Reddy, Yoshini Naidu, Priyona Naidu, Nondumiso Mtwa, Anele Msweli, Nurishka Virana, Ketiwe Zulu. And those are your ladies. Let's have a round of applause. So how the night's going to work from this point, we're going to have panel discussions and tackle some of the conversations that you ladies have been asked before, but now we're going to have them on the open platform for the people online to enjoy and for yourselves in the room. And to help me have this panel discussion, I believe she was on a flight from Lagos. Now, I know Lagos, it's a party city, okay? And the reason why Lagos is a party city is because it's so hot, people only come out to party at 2 in the morning. Okay, so you party late in Lagos and you have a good time and the people are fantastic. I'm happy to welcome onto the stage my co-presenter, co-panelist, and this is going to be Zanele Luvuno, CEO of Metamorphosis Integrated Solutions. Zanele, if you can join us on stage. She's going to have a seat, and I'm going to invite 3 ladies. And for everyone in the room, these 3 ladies are not aware we're inviting them onto the stage to have the chat. So I might just be surprising you ladies. We're going to get you mic'd up so you can have the discussion and have fun with us. We're going to be discussing 3 different themes, right? The courage to realize a dream, powerful one. Exceeding customer expectations and delivering brilliant experiences. And then operating effectively and productively. Those are the 3 themes we will unpack with these 3 ladies. So if these 3 ladies can get ready and get mic'd up, Dr. Lungile Mhlongo, founder and CEO of Numa Medical Aesthetics. Doctor, you here? There we go. If you can join us over there, just to get your mic on. Next lady, Samantha Croft. I think I saw on this side. There we go. Director of Operations for Southern Sun for KZN. If you can join the mic station over there. And Nondumiso Mtwa, founder and CEO of Idwala Property Group. You can join us over there and get mic'd. So what will happen now is the ladies will join us on stage. We'll unpack these 3 conversations, and then we'll have another session like that shortly afterwards, okay? So as the ladies are getting mic'd, and we give them a moment to do so, I'll share a little bit about my upbringing and the women that inspired me. So I grew up in Soweto, which is the southwest township in Johannesburg, popular township, some famous people. Well, not so famous, Nelson Mandela vibes, you know. So that's where I grew up. I came from a very, very hardworking mom. And I speak about her because of the influence she's had on me being the woman I am today. My mom did some phenomenal things in her life. The first one is she built a house from the ground up in that township, and I saw her do that. And she would work late nights, and on the taxi home, she'd give me a call and say, please, I'm running late, and I need you to make some dinner for your sister and yourself. I'm going to ask you to make the simplest thing. It's mince and rice. So here's how you do it. And I learned how to make the first pot of mince and rice from a phone call from my mom at around 12 years old, right, because she was running late. And that's the mom I had. We would sell stockings for extra money. She'd sell them to her colleagues at work, and we'd sell cold drinks from a deep freezer in our house in the garage. And that's how she would make ends meet. She's resilient, she was tough as nails, and she's still phenomenal and inspiring me today. So I think the ladies are mic'd. Are we waiting for one more lady? There we go. And I share that story because I want to remind us that as we do what we do, people are watching. And a lot of those people are the little people in our lives. They might not be our direct children, but it's children in the family, children in the neighborhood, and we inspire them every day with the decisions that we make, all right? All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to hand over to Zanele, who will take the floor.
Hello, ladies. Nice to see everybody again. Everybody looking wonderful. So I think initially what we did with the webinars was give everybody 60 seconds to introduce themselves, and some of it went a little bit over 60 seconds. So if we could take a real 60 seconds, just so that those who didn't get a chance to catch the webinars can just understand who you are and a little bit about your story. 60 seconds.
The whole story.
No, just 60, whatever can be squished into 60 seconds.
Okay, so my name is Samantha Croft and I'm the Director of Operations for Southern Sun Hotels in KZN, and I also look after the resort portfolio. When I chatted to Carol a couple of weeks ago, she said, talk with us, and I was like, oh, my boss is going to have a night breakdown. So I've been in hospitality all my life. When people ask me what I do for a living, I do tell them that I make beds and fry eggs. It's just simpler. And I literally started that from school. So I always knew I had to work with people and I didn't want a boring office job.
Awesome, thank you so much. So I'm going to tackle one of these here, and we're talking about exceeding customer expectations and delivering brilliant experience. Customer journey, customer experience, it's all the new buzzword. You know, whatever industry you're in, if you don't want to compete on price, organizations are competing on experience, right? And the journey for their customers. Tell us a little bit around how that has shifted the hospitality industry.
I think the hospitality industry has been quite creative for a while now. And we often say to staff, you know, a hotel room is a hotel room, a bed is a bed. And what makes the different experience is the people. So you've got to make sure that you hire the right people. They're in the environment that's conducive to their growth and for their development. And especially in the conferencing space, we've always had a look at ways on how to change it around, because companies have annual conferences every year, right? So you got to change it up a little bit. And we were fortunate enough when we had the Elangeni and Maharani and we joined the two to make one big hotel. We used the beachfront as a prop, really, so we could do beach check-ins. So you know, and what we used to do is tell people that, and especially the ones coming from Joburg, you know, your Durban uniform is flip-flops, so we'd give them the flip-flops. And that's how you encourage people to come to KZN rather than go to Cape Town or to Johannesburg.
Fantastic, that's so awesome. Thank you so much. 60 seconds, ma'am.
I'm one of the people that went way over. My name is Dr. uMhlanga. Most people know me as Dr. Lu. I am a medical doctor by profession. I'm a founder and CEO of Numa Medical Aesthetics, which is an Arabic word for beautiful and pleasant, which is what we try to do in my company. We offer non-surgical cosmetic medicine to help ladies and people to actually feel good and look good and be able to present themselves better in the community and in their fields.
Thank you very much. You didn't always start out in this, right? You've done a lot of other things. So I'm going to tackle the other topic here that says the courage to realize a dream. At the most critical, if you could give people one core piece of advice that help you sort of find that courage inside of you to go after your big, hairy, audacious dream and goal, what would that be?
Mine is very personal, because I'm one person that turned her scars into roses, where everything that I went through is everything that pushed me to where I am now. Me being in medicine was actually pushed by an unfortunate incident of losing my parents. And when I got into medicine, I then got a skin condition, like very severe acne, which pushed me to starting the business that I started, because being an entrepreneur is essentially just solving a problem. And I had a problem, and I found a solution, then I decided to extend the solution to other people, of which I saw a demand increasing, which has helped my business as well. And it actually grew from being medical aesthetics to actually formulating my own products, which was the whole concept of formulating a product was made because of the problems that I've been seeing over the years of running the practice. So for me, what made me realize my journey is the struggles that I went through. I decided to not stay in the struggle, but to make something out of it and help other people that are struggling with the same thing to actually find themselves.
That is so awesome. Thank you very much. I always say that we so often talk about aesthetic, like the aesthetic, right, as, a vanity issue. And I think it's so much deeper than that.
Definitely.
How I see myself, whether it's physical or whether it's, in any other way, is incredibly important, and part of that is that physical.
Definitely.
If I don't look at myself in the mirror and feel confident, it impacts how I view myself on the inside.
Yeah.
And I've still got to get up, go to meetings, pitch for work, do all of those types of things. And so I think it's really amazing to see the shift in society, how we've embraced taking care of yourself. We've embraced that actually we are women,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I think a large part of it is that to a degree you've had to kind of like downplay your womanness,
Yeah.
right? In order to not be too visible, be slightly invisible, because if you're invisible then you won't ruffle any feathers and you won't cause any, you won't cause too much havoc.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
True. I was going to just jump in there. When I spoke to Samantha on my show, that was one of the things she pointed out. And I'd love you to highlight that, because I said to her, sometimes you walk into a boardroom and you're a woman and it's a room full of men. How do you maneuver that? And your response was?
Present them with the idea in such a way that they think it was theirs to start with.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Last but not least, 60 seconds.
All right, thank you so much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nondumiso Mtwa. I am the CEO and founder of Idwala Property Group. We specialize in real estate services both to businesses and individuals. We deal with commercial and residential property sales and commercial letting and management. Started off in the industry as an estate agent in 2005, an estate agent without a car. Many, many years later, here I am, a happily married wife to that man sitting over there, and a mother of
As he looks away.
and I'm a mother of two amazing boys, and yes, I really, really love what I do. We've come a long way.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Nondumiso. I'm going to tackle the last of a topic here with you, and that's about operating effectively and productivity. I mean, a lot of what you do is service-based, right?
Sure.
And that's your time actually matters. How you spend that time and getting a return on investment on that time. How do you manage yourself in that context, being a service business, especially in the property space? Go ahead.
Okay. I believe, when you do something right the first time, you don't have to keep going back to fix how you did not do a proper job in the beginning. So firstly, I just think it's maximizing the service to the client. And also realizing that people are not just a number, it's not just a transaction, you're building a relationship. And once you've built that relationship, you're able to nurture it, to take care of the client, and you're able to put them first. And just by putting them first, you actually avoid these mistakes of thinking that people are just money, or people are just financial, or people are just transactions. So you service them properly, you service them with your heart, you service them with passion, and you service them as if, they are the best thing that has ever happened. The fact that someone is buying 650,000 Rand property and somebody else is buying a 3.5 million Rand property, at the end of the day, to that person, it doesn't matter what the amount of the transaction, because remember, buying a property is the biggest investment that most people would ever make. I mean, most of us, I think property, that is your biggest investment. So it doesn't matter what the price range, it is important to them, and you have to treat it as such. And if you do it right the first time, then there are no comebacks. You don't have to keep on now trying to do damage control and fixing things. Obviously, you will make mistakes, but you obviously have to show up, and you have to do your best, and you have to deliver to your utmost.
Thank you. Absolutely agree with you, except for one little snag. you're the owner of the business, you will always show up in that way. But we also, if you want to scale, have to deliver through others, right?
For sure.
How do you make sure you hire right in order to be able to do that?
Well, at the moment we've got, a staff complement of 22 who are, foot soldiers who are on the ground dealing with people. What I have found is that it's actually best to take people that know nothing about the industry and train them and then impart your culture and your values into them. Because sometimes if you take people from other places, poach here and there, they've already got some certain things instilled in them, and they come and they bring those bad practices. Sorry, I don't know if I'm putting it right. Sorry. But they come and bring certain things. So sometimes picking people from knowing nothing about the industry and grooming them and pouring your nature into them and pouring your values and really teaching them how to do things right the first time. It actually works because you're duplicating yourself now. You've got a lot of, non-do's. Not to say, obviously, they're not themselves, but I'm just saying you've got a lot of those that are doing what you are doing, sharing your heart, spreading your heart, and doing and duplicating what you have done. So it actually does make it easier if you train your own people in that way.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome.
I actually want to jump in on what you're saying there. We also spoke on the radio, and your story was also one that sat with me. I asked her how she got into the property business, and her response was, all I wanted to do was help my husband, and I didn't know what exactly I was going to do that. And I found that so powerful, because a lot of the time us women, we do want to help in the household. Yes, maybe you're married to a man who is a breadwinner and things are great, but you do want to help your husband. If you can share that story, I think it was so beautiful about how you said, all I wanted to do was help my husband. And as she mentioned earlier, that she was an estate agent without a car. And I thought to myself, oh hell, it's true. I mean, if an estate agent comes sweating and panting, I'm like, you don't have a car? You're trying to sell me a house?
Yeah.
Are you serious? So please do share.
You know what, believe me, it works. You must just get there a bit earlier so that, at least they find you standing there. You've already wiped all the sweat out and you're looking all professional. And I always just like making a joke about this. At that time, I was a size 28. So I remember there was this one yellow skirt that I liked. And by the time I got there, the zip was supposed to be on the side, but I would find this at the front and I would be fixing. And funny enough, within my first 3 months, I was actually top agent in the company that had employed me. And I would think, oh, they're probably buying because they feel sorry for me. But it worked. It worked. But really, really, what I found, ladies, is that, yes, I had a desire that, oh, shame, just because this poor man said he loves me and he married me, now he has to be all by himself. Let me try and do something. At first, I remember I started selling nutritional products, and I did very well at it, by the way. I would knock on doors, sell things, and go to the schools, talk to the teachers, and all that stuff. Oh my, I've forgotten the question. What?
Yeah, how you got
Helping your husband.
Your husband's like, yeah, that's my wife.
Oh, yes. But, and the way I actually found real estate, it's a very funny thing. A certain company was having a show house, and I remember we had just arrived in the area, and I just liked the colors, and they had on-show boards. I was like, oh, these are very nice colors. It was purple and red and all that. So I remember the first day going up, going there, asking for a job. I'm not going to go into that. But what I just want to say is that, yes, it started off as me saying, I want to do something just to help my husband. I don't want him to be alone. But what actually got the business to be as strong as it is today is that the opportunity that I found, I didn't take it for granted. What my hands found to do, I did it with all my might. I didn't hold back. I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to be the best in this industry. It doesn't matter where I started. It doesn't matter there's no car. It doesn't matter I get there sweating and the sun has scorched me black. It does not matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do what I came to do. And there's no opportunity that I actually took for granted. That's also another thing, because at times when opportunities are presented to us, we kind of, no. I realized that I had to prepare for every opportunity. I had to be present at every opportunity. And I had to give it my very, very best. And I think that really, really helped.
Absolutely. Interestingly, we were having a similar conversation with David, and we were talking about Nigeria. As you pointed out, just came from Lagos, and we were talking about the spirit of the people and the energy of the people, where their conditions are so incredibly tough, but everybody's got a smile on their face. They get up every morning. I mean, I couldn't do that every single day. And we were discussing how it is that they that they can be like that in such adverse conditions. Nothing works. It takes 3 hours to drive 10 kilometers. Air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution. I mean, it's a lot. and I gave my 2 cents, and I said, I think that they have a level of gratitude.
Yes.
That they're given an opportunity to be able to go out and do something every day. And where we're slightly more spoilt, I want to kind of pick and choose whether this one's worthy of me or this one's not. And I think that exact mindset is what makes the difference. I'm going to segue for 2 seconds, but my dad was a boy from Ngandla. Right, we all know Ngandla, but for those reasons. And he was a young man from Ngandla, and he used to say that one day he's going to be a world-renowned surgeon, and nobody would believe him. It's like crazy. Why would you back then in apartheid South Africa? And he, did exactly that. He was a clerk in a doctor's office for years. He cherished it. He took that opportunity, made the absolute most of it, and every day he'd show up as if he was the head surgeon, as if he was, as if he was that guy, and he went on to become a world-renowned surgeon. And that is in an apartheid South Africa, so I'm a strong believer in that gratitude, attitude of gratitude around the work that you do.
100%. And just one last question for you, Dr. Lou. Dr. Lou, by the way, has over like 170,000 followers on Instagram. So she's very famous on the Instagram street. Just for perspective, I have like 14.6 thousand. She's got 170,000. So the reason I come to this is that you are operating in 2 different worlds, right? The real world of your aesthetic studio, and then the other world of social media and navigating that as the new way of driving business. How have you used that platform to grow like that as an individual, as a woman with that business, and just been phenomenal at it?
Funny enough that you're asking that question, because when I started, I had an interview, like a 30-minute interview on East Coast Radio. Then after that, I was like, oh, this could work. And then I got a lot of clients from there. And I was like, this could work. Let me go find out how much it would cost to actually market my business there. And then a gentleman came to my offices, and then he gave me the breakdown for each, I think 60 seconds. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not even making that a year. So, and then I was like, no, let me work with what I have. I had social media at the time. I think I had 10,000 followers. And I was like, let me work with what I have. I was posting everything that I do, and I would share my experiences on social media, do live videos, and I'd share my story as well. And then it started growing from there, and 80% of my clients and business came from social media, where I didn't have to spend lump sums of money in marketing. I just worked with what I have, because I could have gone and said, let me take a loan to actually go pay for this money, to pay for this marketing. But I actually started with what I have. Like I said, anyone that knows my business might have seen it somewhere on social media. As it grew, then I started paying and sponsoring ads and doing all of that. Even now, as much as now we do afford as a business to market anywhere else, our social media is still our main core business, core marketing. So now, then 2 weeks ago, we launched a branch in Johannesburg. The reason why we launched that branch is because we were getting a lot of clients from Johannesburg flying down to Durban for our services through social media. We've been getting people from Tanzania, Botswana. We had people from Saudi Arabia coming to us because of social media. And I always say that social media has made the world so small, where if it depends how you use it, and if you can reach anyone, anywhere in the world. I remember in the webinar, you asked me about aesthetic industry booming like this, regardless of the economy. Because we're seeing things in real time. We're finding solutions in real time on social media, because people are sharing their work, people are sharing their journeys stories. People are sharing their stories on social media. So that is how it has actually worked for me.
May I ask one question on the back of that? So social media is such an important part of how we market ourselves. They say the CV is going to become extinct and companies are just going to look at your LinkedIn profile, track your social media activity, and they're going to decide if they're hiring you in the future. How do you manage the the tension between how much you show and how much you don't show in terms of being a brand, because you still have to deal, you still have to deal with corporates on some level, but you still want to be relatable to people. For somebody out there who is active on social media, wants to be out there, it is a place where they connect with others. What advice would you give them about how to manage themselves on those platforms if they do want to put themselves out there but are potentially afraid of the repercussions?
I like what you said about the CVs and social media, because when I'm hiring people in my company, I have to go through your social media page and see how you present yourself, what you are doing outside in the streets, because when people see you in my business and then they see you out there, you still need to represent the brand. So how I do it, I've remained authentic to who I am. I am the person that I am on social media. I post most of our results on social media because we are results orientated. I want when someone sees the skin condition that they currently have and they see the solution that's there for them to actually go and seek the help. So what I have done personally, I have remained authentic, and I as much as I have a personal page and a business page, my friend here was actually telling me, now you can't tell the difference. Whether I'm on your personal page or I'm on the business page, it's all Numa everywhere. Because this is who I am. My business is what I am. You can't separate me from what I do, because even me as Dr. Lou, when I wake up, my passion comes mainly from social media, because some days when I don't feel like being a businesswoman, I don't feel like going to work, I just go onto one of my clients' page, I look at their results, I look at their skin, I look at how they're cementing themselves in their fields, and then that motivates me to actually go help more people so that they can present themselves better and have better lives and be better versions of themselves.
Awesome, fantastic. So separate your personal and your...
Yes, definitely separate personal from business.
No, I'm kidding.
It's very tricky though when it comes to social media, because people want... I can't trust a brand that doesn't have a face. I need to know where this business is coming from. I need to know who's being... There's a lot of scams on social media. We've had people steal our pictures to scam people money. So as much as your personal page is your personal things, but you're still representing the brand to a certain extent. So it's very difficult to separate it. I try to separate the brands, separate Dr. Lou from Numa, which I really tried to do over the years. But I can't trust a brand it's difficult to trust a brand that doesn't have a face. You don't know where it's coming from. You might be scammed. You might be buying the product on the online store. It burns your face, and it's a very tricky one.
Right. And lastly, I guess, Samantha, your last takeaways from your experience in the business that you're in.
Sure, now you're putting me on the spot. I thought I was safe because I don't do Instagram and all that, which you would have picked up. Yeah, I guess for me, and just listening to various ladies' stories, I think there's something adverse that's happened earlier on in one's life. And I think most of the ladies here tonight have sort of made a decision to overcome that adversity, whichever it may be, and have made a success of their career and their personal life.
Right. Beautiful. All right, shall we wrap it here, and we'll carry on with the next session. Thank you so much. You can give the ladies a round of applause. Thank you so much, ladies. You can just stay over there for the mic. You're gonna,
is it?
it's up to you. We're going to do a next segment in a moment.
Okay, so I can go.
Yes, you can have a
grab
seat if you like, yes. So we're learning, we're growing, we're getting experiences, we are immersing ourselves, and right now we're going to have a special recognition announcement. Where is Andy Armstrong? I believe he's around here somewhere. There you are. So the cameras can zoom in on Andy Armstrong. Let me tell you who Andy Armstrong is. He's here on behalf of his wife, who's done some amazing things. Sherry Armstrong is his wife. She's the director and founder of the MPC Celebrate Life SA. Now, the main purpose of Celebrate Life is to make a tangible difference in the lives of rural communities by empowering women who previously were left hopeless, homeless, feeding children as well, and also giving children a solid meal every day and implementing projects that are sustainable as well as uplifting, right? Now, the Ubuntu Micro Bakery Project is a national project that changes the lives of hundreds of women for the better every single year. Now, the project consists of a wood-fired oven with 2 drawers and a chimney that can be put into a rondavel or home in the middle of nowhere, and includes training women to become entrepreneurial bakers. Now, Celebrate Life fundraisers for the oven and baking utensils down to wooden spoon as well as the training. The women are trained for a period of around 3 weeks, 3 days to a week, and then are mentored for a year. And these little ovens produce an amazing 8 loaves per hour. Now, the women also make muffins, they make pizza, cinnamon buns, and so much more. And it's just seen so much difference in the communities that it's at. The income from the bakery is therefore recirculated in the communities that it's in. So a big high five to your beautiful wife, Sherry Armstrong. Please send our love. We are definitely recognizing her today, Andy. And tell her that she's phenomenal. You can give her a round of applause. So now we're going to move on to our keynote address. We know now that she has had a wonderful experience in Nigeria, seeing the people there and inspired there, but her own life story is a powerful one. And I want to welcome back onto the stage for our keynote address, Zanele Luvuno, CEO, Metamorphosis Integrated Solutions.
Thanks. Thank you, Carol. So before I begin, I wanted to say we forgot or we left out 2 phenomenal women when the slideshow was going up. So the one was Reshma Maharaj. Reshma, where is Reshma? There you go. We acknowledge you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for having shared your story with us. And the second one is Pindiwe Fultane. Where is Pindiwe? Oh, there she is over there. Likewise, you have a phenomenal story, and thank you for being here with us this evening. So, I have notes and scribbles because I was given about 5 minutes notice that I'd be speaking this evening. So I'm probably going to chuck this because I'm not sure how helpful it's going to be because I don't have my dad's memory, unfortunately. And maybe start, I think we've been talking a lot about stories in adversity and how our stories in adversity have driven us to be where we are. And my story starts probably at the age of 6, where we're in apartheid South Africa. My dad was looking for a school for me, and he couldn't find a school anywhere in Durban. They couldn't take me. It was what it was. The only school that was prepared to take me was a school called the Wickham School in Pietermaritzburg. So there I am with my big bushy afro. I barely speak any English. And, you know, my parents lived in Mlazi. This is Pietermaritzburg, so there's no dropping me off at school and, you know, every day and any of that kind of stuff. I was a termly boarder. You saw your parents 4 times a year. That was it, you know. And so there my parents came, they dropped me there, and I was the only black face in a sea of white faces. And I don't think I even knew the difference at that age, to be honest. But I very quickly learned that I was different. And it wasn't, interestingly, the kids, because I think as children we don't really see the difference. It would be more, you know, the school tuck shop madam or lady who'd say you really shouldn't be buying tuck, you know, with those thighs or you know, crazy things. No, it was, but it's my body shape as an African person. Or at ballet when they're like, she'll never really be a good ballerina. Tuck your bum in, and you're like, well, I don't think I can do that. So, but it's true, and So it's like, this is your experience as a young child. And so you very quickly, start to realize that, okay, maybe there's something different about me, and there's something, and so you start your journey towards invisibility, right? Code switching, we all do it. There's not a single woman in here that hasn't in their lifetime had to code switch. I don't even think anybody tells us that we need to code switch. We just know we need to do it. When you get to work, or when you're in a particular environment, we somehow step into a different energy. So we, become one of the boys, or we become slightly more masculine, or, you laugh at jokes that are really quite offensive, but it's like everybody else is laughing, or, whatever those things may be, we code switch. And I learned code switching from a very, very young age. What it did teach me, though, was resilience. And although I carried that code switching pattern for a lot of my life, I think when I probably got to my 30s, I started realizing something was wrong. I didn't feel comfortable in this skin I was inhabiting. Like, I didn't feel like I was being me. I didn't feel like I was bringing myself out into the world. I didn't feel, I'd go to meetings and I'd say all the right things and I'd do all the right things, and everybody loved me, and, you want to put me in front of clients and you want to do all these things, but I'd always go home feeling such a sense of emptiness in all of my achievements. And also you feel incredibly alone, right? And I think that place I got to where I felt I had achieved so much and I had done so much, but I was so incredibly empty on the inside, began a journey for me to start to unpack why it could possibly be that I'm feeling so incredibly unfulfilled. And that journey led me to where I am now, and it's probably my message and the one thing I would want to leave with anybody here, regardless of whether you're a man, regardless of whether you're a woman, don't be afraid to take up space. And that is the one thing I have given myself permission to do. I have given myself permission to authentically show up as myself in each and every single situation that I choose to put myself into. And that doesn't mean that you are reckless. I think authenticity asks us to be accountable. I must be accountable for the self that I am putting out. I must own that self. I must be conscious of how I carry myself into the space, not just for myself, but for the others in that particular space. But I must hold myself to being authentic and allowing myself to take up space. And I know it's not so easy to take up space, because it's easier to be invisible. We all know the stories of when you did decide to speak up, and you are you're the problematic woman, or you're you're always pushing back. And it matters at bonus time. They say your performance technically 10 out of 10, but you really should try be nicer, or get along with your colleagues more, or spend more time with your colleagues. Meanwhile, your colleagues all go drinking at night after work, and you've got 2 kids at home, as an example, and you can't actually do that. So we function in an environment that speaks about wanting us to be authentic. You go for a job interview and they say, we want innovative people, we want authentic people. They give you a laundry list of these beautiful buzzwords of the types of people they're wanting to hire. But actually we get into the environments and we realize very quickly that the environment actually wants you to assimilate, right? That's what's valued, is assimilation. But so much of you gets lost in that invisibility. So much of you gets lost in that assimilation. And yes, I understand it. I mean, massive corporate structures, you need some kind of framework in order to govern people in a way. I'm not even sure govern's the right word. So that framework for most companies it used to be our values and your mission and your vision. I think it really should be your purpose, your why. Why are you as an organization there? Why should the people who come to join you wake up every morning and do what they do? Why should anybody care that you exist as an organization, right? And once you're clear about your purpose as an organization, you can start to attract in people into your organization that are aligned to that particular purpose. And it demands that we both, whether you're a company or an individual, authentically know yourself. And once you authentically know yourself, you can start to make decisions that I think are reflective of who you are. You can start to add value in organizations. You can start to add value in terms of your career and the choices you make, the decisions you make. And I think most importantly, you can extract value from those situations as well. Companies that hire for authenticity, that hire for diversity, have a higher probability, the research says, to solve problems. So if there's 10 of us in a room and we all think the same, we're all going to potentially come up with the same response to a solution. But if you start to bring in different people with different ways of thinking, different paradigms, different ways of approaching things, then those people can potentially solve for problems and issues in your organization that you may not necessarily have thought of. And so there is value in allowing yourself to take up space. There is value for allowing yourself to put up your hand for those big, hairy, audacious goals and those things, those goals and dreams that you have that you wouldn't dare to speak out loud. There is value in stepping into your authentic nature and self. There's value for yourself, and there's value for the people that you interact with if you're doing it from a place of authenticity. And so I have decided invisibility is obviously no longer for me. It's visibility all the way, and I hope in some way I've encouraged somebody who may be on that type of journey with what I had to say this evening. Thank you.
I've been told not to come too forward because then the lighting doesn't look nice for you guys there online. So I'm going to stay here in the light so you can see me. And thank you so much, Zanele, for that. I think it's such an important element of life, is being authentically yourself. And I work in an industry where if you're not strong and authentically yourself, you easily swayed and become something you're not, and your career's cut short because you're not authentically yourself. And I remember when I started in radio so many years ago, it was the automatic, easy thing to do, having listened to radio presenters my whole childhood, varsity life, that the first thing I want to do when I switch on a mic is, it's 7:25 on your favorite radio station. It's Carol Ofori with you all the way until 1 o'clock this afternoon. How's that ride home? I mean, that's what I started out doing because that's what I heard and that's what I thought was radio. And it was the hardest thing to unlearn the copycatting and become Carol Ofori. That was the hardest thing, was authentically being myself. And then moving within the industry and being told, well, Carol, don't you want to do club DJing like on a Friday? I tried it out, and I was more on the dance floor than I was playing the music. So I knew that was never going to work. And quite a few bosses tried to push me because they needed this narrative of this black girl who's a little bit plus size and she's in the club and it's like, whoa, how you doing over there? It just wasn't me. I wanted to have the drinks and party till the early hours of the morning. That was me, you know? So it's so important what Zanele is saying, is that I think across all industries, when you're authentically yourself and know what is right for you, you will always make the right opportunity decisions that will propel you forward than doing things to please my boss, please my colleagues, look like I'm walking the right walk. I absolutely loved that. It spoke to every element of my journey. So thank you for that, Zanele. All right, let me give you a little bit more info about Zanele. Zanele, as I said, she's the CEO of Metamorphosis Integrated Solutions, and she has an extensive career span over 2 decades. She has primarily worked in the people space in the area of coaching, talent acquisition, executive search, and partner profiling for transaction. Her broader business portfolio includes e-commerce as well as property investment. Zanele's client base has included blue-chip clients on projects throughout the African continent, president. She's a vocal figure about transformation in South Africa, and has a finger on the pulse, particularly about establishing and promoting the future of female leaders. Now, Zalela has been featured in many publications and is a thought leader in the national conversations around transformation, gender equality, especially as these issues relate to business and careers. I give you this again because I'd love Zalela to join me back on the couches again as we go into panel session 2. You can give her a round of applause. Now, the next 3 ladies are not aware that they're coming onto the platform, as the other 3 didn't. This is our final panel session. I'll be inviting the 3 ladies onto the podium, or onto the stage, this beautiful stage. And as you come, ladies, please walk over to the mic station for your miking. We're going to be discussing 3 different themes: fostering a culture of empowerment and diversity, making a difference in the business and community, and being a woman extraordinaire, all right? So the ladies I'd like to invite onto the stage with me right now. Jasmina Shiba, she's the Director, Royal Tires. Jasmina, you here? Oh, there we are. If you can join the guys over there for your miking. To join us as well, Carol Kutsia, Head of Department for KwaZulu-Natal Provisional Treasury, and founder and director of Benita Ardenbaum Attorneys, Benita Ardenbaum. If you can join us over there for a woohoo! Can join us over there for your miking. As we get mic'd up, are you ladies and gentlemen having a good time so far? I promise we're getting closer to the food. I know it's smelling nice now. And the tummies are grumbling. We are getting closer to having our buffet meal. What we're going to do is we're going to wrap up this section. We're going to do our closing. And then from there, we enjoy the night with a great dinner and a networking session. Lots of drinks. And then, of course, a good night. Of course. So we're going to get to that in just a moment. So I'll just chat more about other things that I'm involved in. I like to always find myself doing different things all the time. I'm a voiceover artist as well, which is one of my I really love doing voice. It's kind of started along with my radio career, being a voiceover artist. And I'm happy to announce that I am nominated for an International Voice Award for the first time ever. So I'm very excited. Yay! So just so you know, like when I got this nomination, I was very shocked because people like Kate Blanchett have this award, Sigourney Weaver, I'm like, how's this possible? So the awards are going to be next month at Warner Brothers Studios in Hollywood. Wow. I'm like, said to my husband, listen, honey, we're off to Hollywood, baby. And then I Googled the prices of flights. I'm like, okay, we'll just watch on the TV. And that's how we're going to do it. So the ladies are almost mic'd up and ready to rock and roll. If they can join us in the center, and then we'll get into that. There's one more lady getting her mic. And then next week, it's the Radio Awards. So it's my industry's biggest awards, and I'm nominated in 2 categories. Have a seat, ladies. So I'm excited about, I'm a lady doing things. Thank you, gentlemen. So we're just waiting for Benita to join us, and then we'll get started. Okay, so I had the same story, don't you worry. So we're going to get into the panel discussion, and as I mentioned, we've got those 3 topics that we're going to unpack. And then straight after that, we'll get into our closing and have a delicious dinner. So there comes Benita. I'm going to hop into this chair and hand it over to Zanele to walk us through.
Thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
I think this was deliberate that I get the first chair even though I was the last one here.
Perhaps it is. Should we then start with you, Benita?
Absolutely, why not?
60 seconds for those of us that are here tonight that don't know anything about you. 60 seconds,
so
go.
my name is Benita Ardenbaum. I'm the founder and director of Benita Ardenbaum Attorneys. We're a family law specialist firm and conveyances as well, but we specialize in divorces and big custody and children disputes. My passion for giving a voice to the voiceless has basically driven my purpose. So I absolutely love what I do. I've got an incredible team of women. We are 9 women that do family law. And I love to come to work every single morning. I love doing what I do. And I just want to be the best version of myself and for my team, and also show up for our clients and really make a difference, one person at a time, one family at a time, one community at a time, one province at a time, and one country at a time. And I think everything that I do has a ripple effect in society. And when we particularly deal, again, with women, women are often the backbone of society. And so when I empower women or give them a voice and a choice, and I'm their spokesperson for them, it absolutely has a ripple effect, because it impacts on their children as well, which then impacts on society.
Thank you, Benita. I'm going to tackle one of the topics here, which says fostering a culture of empowerment and diversity. You said you have only women in your office.
Yes.
Is that because just men are less inclined towards the sensitivity that could be required? Is that a purposeful choice in terms of fostering diversity in your business? How did you come to be in that position?
So it is a purposeful choice. My husband does work in the business, but he likes to be in the background, and he helps to run the business. But yes, I just feel that women, men as well, but I think especially in the sphere of family law, that women can have that empathy and compassion. I mean, often when people come, they come in a very traumatized state. And so what ends up happening is that sometimes when people come and they start sharing their story, really, they just need a hug. And so, you know, we have big boxes of tissues. And so for me also, because of my own personal story, so I only made this public now that I was adopted, and when my mother was 16 years old, she had to give me up, and she was whisked away to another city, so because of the shame on the family, and she didn't have a voice and she didn't have a choice. And she was a woman, it was her own body, but there was nothing that she could do about this, and she was forced to basically give me up. And also I was sexually abused as a child, so my passion really has been mainly to give a voice to everybody, but it is driven to give a voice to children and women. And just from my perspective, I feel that the woman can deliver that compassion and empathy.
And for a man sitting there saying, I want to be able to show up for the women in my life, I have more women that are currently working for me in the workplace than I've ever had before, just basically because, I mean, you know, men were, you know, society allowed men to be alpha males. I think it's in the new woke culture, it's kind of to some degree frowned upon, right? Men are expected to be more sensitive. They're expected to be all these things which are incredibly new, right? What advice would you give to a man out there who is saying, okay, I need to show up differently for the women around me, right? Be it the workplace or whatever it may be. One or two things that they could potentially have as a tool to put in their pocket to pull out when they kind of like need to.
So I think the first thing that's really important is for them to actually show their vulnerability.
Yeah.
Sadly, men have been encultured to hold their emotions, to not really show their emotions. I don't often see men crying. Sometimes it's actually quite rare. So it's really because when you can show up as yourself and you can be authentic within yourself, I think that really makes a difference, to show that vulnerability, show your emotions.
Yeah.
You don't need to hold it all together. And I think, again, men were encultured that, you know, they're here to support us, particularly as women, and they need to keep it all together, and they actually don't. Because I think women admire seeing vulnerable men as well, because as women, we're very emotional, and yes, we would like to see that in men too.
A lot of staff are saying that they want
Yes.
to see vulnerability in their leaders because they believe that when they see that vulnerability, that their boss is an authentic leader, and then they can buy into whatever it is that their, boss or their leadership structure in that particular business is saying, and it's coming up more and more in all the research around company culture, is that staff members are saying we want to see our leaders being vulnerable.
Well, I think it takes a lot of courage, and it's very risky to be vulnerable, because you're shedding all of your masks, and it really is showing a different aspect of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
and thank you for
Zanele.
sharing with us.
Thank you.
Okay, Jasmina, in the tire industry.
Yes.
60 seconds.
It's quite a long story, but I'm going to try and keep it short and how I got into the tire industry. We are a family-run business. We've been running since 1939. Wow. It was started by my grandfather. I joined the business in 2011. I never wanted to really join the business. At 23, I left to go and live in London. So I lived there for 13 years. I met my husband there. We started a family. But the calling from my family was, you need to come into the business. I do have 2 younger brothers that are also in the business as well. So I never looked at myself, being a female as well, to be part of the business. So I joined the family business in 2011. And I won't look back. It's been fun. It really has been fun. It's been a steep learning curve. I've embraced it in its entirety. I'm the only female director in our history of 83 years. Yeah. So it is a lot of pressure, but I don't think about it. When you look back, you think, okay, it's a lot of pressure. But when you're learning and you're so hungry to learn, to make a difference, you feel that pressure to know what you're talking about, to educate yourself, to fit in. It's been fun.
Fantastic. And I mean, such an interesting story, and the dynamics are so interesting because you're working with family, right? Mm-hmm. So to some degree, one might assume that potentially makes it. Is it an advantage to be working with family, or is it a disadvantage because they know you from this age and they know a version of you, but you're another version, let's say, in the workplace?
I think it's important to mention that my 2 younger brothers are in the business as well. So there's a 15-year age gap. Wow. So there's a lot of respect there as well. Which makes a huge difference. There is a disadvantage, there is an advantage. There's more advantages than there are disadvantages. Yes, like you mentioned, they kind of know you. They know how to manipulate to a point. But I think it's important to remember what your goals are, and don't let your personal sort of issues, if you have any, come into what you're trying to achieve. It's important to have a good strategy in place. So we're all working towards the same thing. We're all different, we're all dynamic, we have different strengths. We all can't be strikers, we've got to accept that. And you go with your strength and you lead.
100%. Thank you very much. Carol, nothing?
Yep, Carol. It's Carol.
Great name. That's Carol. I was asking that, Carol.
I'm good. I'm loving. I'm just soaking it all in.
Okay, fantastic. And lastly, Carol, thank you so much again for being here in 60 seconds. For somebody who doesn't know you, if you could just share with us.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carol. I am a government worker. Don't curse me. I've been a public servant for 30 years. It's in my blood. I tried to leave for a very short period of time and realized that it's in my blood, and it's because I genuinely feel I can make a difference, as small as it may be. It's such a fulfilling job, very frustrating job, but a very fulfilling job. I've got 2 beautiful girls who are my life, and I really just love being outdoors and enjoying when we have the time, but it's been an interesting journey in the public sector.
Fantastic, thank you. For anyone who doesn't know, Carol is head of department, KwaZulu-Natal treasurer. Should I take my mic off and pass it around so you can all ask questions?
Yes.
I knew this was going to get interesting.
That's not what you
I do
don't
not have a
you
briefcase
know.
of cash. I do not have a briefcase of cash.
Talk to us about being, I mean, you have a phenomenal track record in that particular space. Talk to us about being a businesswoman extraordinaire. Talk to us about excelling in spaces like that. Talk to us about how you get to influence your industry. Give us a little bit around how that experience is.
So I suppose it really started when I was about 29 and I was appointed at provincial treasurer I am now as the accountant general. So very, very young, coming in at quite a senior position. And when financial management reforms came into government and was really trying to change how government operated to be more efficient and passing more accountability onto heads of departments. So I was advising heads of departments, MECs, and it was an incredible journey just to see that shift and to be part of that change. Then I was made head of Department of Economic Development, and in many of these instances I've been put in portfolios where I don't know much about the portfolios, so I've really had to learn at an astronomical kind of speed. And that was we were doing FIFA World Cup, we were establishing Dubai Trade Port, growth funds, some really big public entities. I was part of setting those up. And I mean, it was a 2 billion rand budget. I mean, it was just something incredible. I mean, I was only 34 years old and I was the head of department. And I think part of that then it was a personal decision after 5 years. My girls were young and I'd gone through a divorce, and they said, we think we're going to go live with daddy because you're never home. And I just thought, you know, that was a choice I had to take. And I thought, I'm going to take a step back. And I then went to join EY. I'm an accountant. Another don't curse me. But it was funny because I used to work for Israeli McKees, and he said to me when I left, you will be back. And he was right, because I was there for less than 2 months, and I said, what am I doing here? I don't feel like I'm making a difference in anyone's life except for these partners at this firm. And so I had to go back hand in cap, and I then started up the Film Commission, which was a public entity, brand new, got to know about the film industry. I knew nothing about the film industry, and I think it's embracing something that you don't know and using your knowledge and also asking questions. Never be embarrassed to ask questions. And I think in the political space, the most important thing is to be brutally honest and frank and say, you can't do this, but we can do it this way. You know, a lot of people are too scared to do those kind of things. And I think through those years, and my good friend Neville is here, he's the other government official that's here tonight. We've learned, we've traversed through so many political changes. And I think we've got the respect of our leaders because we've been consistent and we've upheld the values and the ethics. And that's the kind of shift and change I want to see in the public sector, bringing in professional people, bringing in a change to start swaying and seeing how we can do things differently.
Thank you. You've touched on something very interesting there. Not afraid to jump into something you don't know and learn along the way. A lot of women are very often afraid to do that. We're scared that people are going to know we don't know. We're scared that we're going to be exposed. We're scared that we're going to be shamed. You know, we're scared that we're going to fail, you know, because we want to be perfect at absolutely everything. Where do you find the courage for somebody wanting to do something that they've never done before? And I've done this, by the way. I have a recruitment background, and I wanted to get involved in transactions, and I was like, I put my hand up and I said, well, I'm doing it. And they were like, well, why are you here? I said, well, tell me how a transaction works, you know. And then I'm like, okay. And then when there's a capital call, we'll have to go find okay. I was like, all right, I'm here. And I put my hand in, and I was like, I'll learn along the way. But where do you find the courage to do that in such a public place? Because, I mean, I was doing it on my own, and if I failed, oh, well, those are my failures for me, right? But, you know, I would assume that it takes so much more courage to do that in such a difficult environment. What advice do you have for somebody who's listening in right now, and wants to do something else, wants to do something different, or wants to put their hand up at work for a new project, or something like that, but they just don't believe they have what it takes to do it right now.
Yeah, I think it's two things. I think first of all, it's somebody mentioned it earlier about being vulnerable. Going to your staff that are there and saying, teach me about this sector, teach me about, so when I joined the Film Commission, my COO, she knew the industry, so I said, I'm going to lean very heavily on you, and I had a variety of skills that I could then tap into, so I've really brought my team close to me, so showing that vulnerability, and also it's about asking questions and not being embarrassed to ask those questions. Also spending the time to study and to learn, to go onto a film set, to really understand how it works, asking the stupid questions, studying up, and just getting to understand it. And I think that's really just where it lent itself. I think with a chartered accountant, you get such a solid foundation because it really forces you to be professional. It forces you to think in a particular way, and yet I don't use my qualifications at all in any of the positions that I've actually had, even though as treasurer you would think you would. But I think it's just making sure you surround yourself with really solid people. Everyone was talking about earlier about how it's about, the shift is not about making the profits and the end goal of the company. It's about getting the best out of your team, and I fully agree and support that, and developing and supporting a team and seeing the team grow. You see them then supporting the company and the direction the company wants to go and achieving those objectives. So it's been an interesting journey, but I think you just got to have, sorry to say, balls of steel to just take it on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And not be afraid to fail.
Exactly.
What is it that the other Carol?
Yes.
What is it that you think it is about failing that that we're so afraid to go out there and just take that chance? Because men aren't. Like, if it works out, great. If it didn't, oh well. Pat yourself on the back. And you go try something else. What is it about us as women, you think, that makes us so afraid to fail?
I think what makes us more afraid to fail than men is just society is always quick to judge us in everything that we do, from what we look like, how we cook our food, how we walk, how we carry ourselves, the comments we make in certain rooms. So already you've got a target because you're a woman, and then you fail, and then it's like a double target. So that kind of enhances the fear. I think that's why we just so fearful of failure. But I think one thing that's beautiful about women is that when it does happen, the way we rise from it when we choose to is phenomenal. And the stories we can tell and the testimonies we can tell are outstanding.
Yeah.
And I think there are many women who just don't feel good enough about themselves.
Yeah.
And I think, as women, we need to really believe in ourselves and trust ourselves and know that we have all the answers within ourselves. For goodness sake, we can create children. Surely everything is within us, and yes, so...
Right.
Yeah. I think that's a very important piece. But it's also, I think maybe it goes back a little bit to the authenticity piece, We're conditioned for external validation, right? I'm conditioned to seek the applause of my colleagues. I'm conditioned to seek the applause of my friends, my family, and we don't get enough education or enough support around learning to self-validate. Because when the self-validation, the ability and the capability to validate yourself is there, actually what you think of me is none of my business, right? Whether you think that I should be in this job, or whether you think that I don't know anything about film and I shouldn't be here, or all of those things that you were talking about that make us afraid to even try, that's somebody's perception of you. If you've got a strong enough internal compass around who you actually are, and that validation comes from within, I think it can go a really, really long way around making those strides. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I say our guru resides within ourselves.
Yeah.
And not outside of ourselves.
I think you've also got to have a self-purpose. I think at the end of the day, you've got to feel when you leave the office, as frustrating as it was, and a lot of the things that you dealt with were really unpleasant to deal with, even if you made one small difference, I have to share the story, and please don't judge me again, but I have a driver, and he was telling me how he didn't have water at home for 7 months. 7 months. And I thought, this is ridiculous. Now, because I'm in a wonderful position of power, I could get hold of the municipal manager at eThekwini, and he sent a video of him turning on his tap and water coming out, and that feeling of just that joy that gave me, just because I could use this position for something good. That is why I'm in the public sector. And that's, if everybody has got that they can claim to with whatever they're doing, it makes the long days really, really worth it.
The big why, right?
Yeah.
Why? Why am I getting up? Why am I doing this?
Exactly.
Why does this matter? Why does
Exactly.
it? Yeah.
100%. Okay, well, that's where we'll leave it, ladies. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
this
so
engaging
much.
conversation. Thank you. We can
Thank
give the
you.
ladies a round of
Thank
applause.
Sorry. Can I get on mute?
All right, I want to do some winning vibes now. Let me play a short video and I'll let you know who our first winner is. And yes, you watching in your homes, in your cars, wherever you're watching, you possibly could be one of the winners. So let's fire away the video. For prize, the Mangwanani Moonlight Spa voucher for a whole evening of pure therapy from 6 p.m. until late with drinks, a meal, and dessert is won by... Can scroll up. Okay, let me grab my notes here. Okay, it's won by Mignon Yankolovitz. Woo! Could be someone in the audience or maybe even streaming online. All right, let's move on to our next award. All right, let's get into the Super Tech video. All right. So, from Supertech, a one-night stay for two. Oh, hold on. Before I give away things I don't have. Hold on a second now. A Supertech group vouchers for use for purchases from their online shop has been won by Melanie Chetty. I don't know if she's in the house or online. And then the last prize is a one-night stay for two people at either Coastlands Musgrave or Coastlands uMhlanga, which is this one, on a bed and breakfast basis. This one has been won by Thandeka Langeni. I don't know if she's here. She could be online. I would like us to give every single woman in the room a magical round of applause for everything you do. Everything you do. And as we get closer to lining our bellies with some delicious food, I'd like to call Gail Adblum to come up to the stage from KZN Top Business, just to give us a vote of thanks. Thank you, Gail.
Thanks, Carol. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. This Top Business Women event is always one of my favorite of the years. It's so lovely to see all of you here, and I've really enjoyed engaging with many of you, either with video interviews or online, and had the pleasure of reading and, in many cases, writing up your stories. So it really has been a pleasure and very inspiring. And for me, it's just to really say thank you. Thank you so much to David from DRG and BusinessFit. Without your support, this event wouldn't be happening tonight. We also really say we say thank you to Brianna Naidu and the team at Supertech for their many hours of videoing and their patience in putting the videos together. They will be streamed and you'll find them online. We'll premiere 5 a day over the next few days, so please go on and have a look. If you don't see yours there on the first day, it will be there at some point. We just don't want to overload the airways, so please watch out for those, and we'll send you a link to each of yours as they get premiered as well. To Zanelli, thank you so much. I've lost Zanelli, there you are. Thank you so much for all your help on the webinars and tonight. It really has been a pleasure. Thank you, really much appreciate your input. Carol, thank you for being here, for really adding your grace to the evening. It's been wonderful. Thank you. To our IT team, Neil and Andrew, we also wouldn't be able to do this evening without you, so thank you very much as well. And I'm always worried that I'm going to leave somebody else out, Mangwanani and Coastlands, for the vouchers that you'll be getting later. Thank you for that. And lastly, to the team at KZN Top Business, to Grant, who you all know, also who without this evening, we wouldn't be here. And to the many people that help us make this event possible, to Pravina, to Tracy, to Cheryl, Kerry, who isn't here, and a couple of other people behind the scenes as well. And so I'd just really like to close with these words. Always expect the unexpected, and whenever possible, be the unexpected. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gail. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for entrusting me with this amazing auspicious occasion. And I've had a wonderful time being in your presence. You can catch me on the radio tomorrow, 9 a.m. We've got bizarre stories, a crazy story about monkeys. It's coming up on the radio, and it's got nothing to do with monkeys from Durban. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Thank you so much. And ladies, if I could leave you with just a thought, right? You're excelling so much in your careers. Don't neglect looking after yourselves, your heart, your mental health, and just your being, right? We can't pour into anybody's cup if ours is empty. So we work so hard, we juggle so many balls. I always say to my husband, I say, as a guy, the one thing you think about on your way home is what I've cooked for dinner, right? And maybe have I done this, all work related. Wonder if the kids are home, yeah. For a woman driving home, it's, geez, did I get the bread? Did I get the milk? Did I tell the nanny not to iron that cloth, but to iron the other one? Oh my goodness, did I tell my mom that my auntie's coming next week, Saturday? Oh, and I must tell the lady at work to make sure that tomorrow's meeting's at 9 and not at 8. And my nail appointment is at 6 o'clock, but I actually need to make it at 7 o'clock because I'm not going to make it. And then on top of all of that, I haven't eaten anything. Oh my gosh, I'm getting lightheaded. Let me get a chocolate. Oh, I'm going to gain weight if I have a chocolate. Oh. That's our brain. And I always follow up that scenario in my head that I'll play out to him and say, would you like to be a girl just for one day? And the answer is always the same, not a chance. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Have yourselves a wonderful evening. The buffet is open. Please eat and enjoy. The bar is open. Please have drinks and let's network, get to know each other, and open more doors and more possibilities for each of each other here. Thank you. And once again, I'm Carol Ofori.